We're on the beat at the MEMO Music Hall here in the heart of St Kilda. We're going to have a chat to guess who? Iconic legend, the man himself, Mr. Ross Wilson. It's my pleasure to welcome to the MEMO Music Hall the man, the legend himself, Mr. Ross Wilson.
Yeah, what a great room. Look at this place.
Just heard the sound check, Ross. The sound is really good. So from your end, what's your gut feel on it? A lot of money spent.
Well, I have played here before as part of some ensemble things, benefits and things like that. So I've got a feel for the room. They've done a lot to the room too, because it's quite old, this place. It's about 120 years old or so. And so the acoustics are a bit different back then when they were building them. So they've stuck in like baffles and drapes, and they look good and they sound good too. So in-house PA, all tuned up to the room, so no problemo.
No, it's full of history. We were just talking before, but it was even a recording studio at one point there with Mark. Were we talking about Normie Rowe? Did he record it?
The very famous Bill Armstrong, who basically, is responsible for his studio for so many hit records and turned into AAV, Armstrong's Audio Video, where I recorded with Mondo Rock and everyone recorded there. Started out here in this very building, and I think the first number one they had was Normie Rowe's It Ain't Necessarily So.
Yeah, unbelievable songs. Now, have a look at your tour dates. Gee, there's a big tour here coming up for you. What are we going to expect? Are we going to get, if a fan yells out, we're on Eagle Rock, we're going to hear Eagle Rock, what are we going to hear?
I'm always trying out new stuff, so of course I play Eagle Rock, and some of the Mondo Rock things too. Come Said the Boy, Cool World. But thrown in the middle of that, I've had quite a few solo albums, so that you'll hear things from those, and even songs that haven't been recorded yet, which that's a tradition of mine, is to try things out live, see how they go, get a feel for what the audience thinks of them. And there's one in particular which people are lapping up, so I've got to get around to recording it pretty soon.
Now, I just want to get back just to Eagle Rock itself. Is that a song that I find it's impossible not to break the dances for? They've got to get out on the dance floor, and dance to that song. It's just it's a floor breaker, dance breaker every time. When you're writing a song like that originally, I did read that you actually had come up with a riff and you weren't too sure whether you'd heard it from somewhere else. Just tell me, just if I may, please, just a little bit about that, and we'll talk about some new stuff in just a moment.
I was trying to get a bit better on guitar, and I like the blues, and I was trying to play like a Mississippi blues type thing, and that's what I came up with. And it's basically a distillation of all the things that I'd learned up to that point. I was quite young when I wrote the song, like 23 or whatever, and I loved, Mississippi blues, I loved pop, I loved rock and roll, and it all kind of came together in that song. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. It's kind of ragtime, and I think all those cross rhythms, but the best stroke of luck with that was that, I found myself, formed a band called Daddy Cool, and the guys in that band were absolutely the right people to record that song, because there's so many people who can't play it right, but when you do get it right, it works, the magic that you were talking about. If you get it wrong, it's horrible. I hate it, when people don't play it right. So you got to have the right groove. As soon as you hit that groove, it goes off. It's got a lot of counter rhythms in it. People ask me this question many times, and what makes it work? And I had to actually think about it and go, well, there's this rhythm underneath, and then one on. So Gary Young's going, and Wayne's going boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So it's quite unique.
Yeah, it's certainly something that you can't manufacture. It's just something that actually happens itself. It takes on its own world, and it's its own beast. With the new stuff that you're putting together and the band itself, the Peaceniks, just tell me a little bit about the boys in the band. And
the band, the Peaceniks, is the lineup's reasonably stable. Sometimes I have people in and out depending on what they're doing. At the moment we've got Eric McCusker from Mondo Rock on guitar. Of course, we've worked together for years and years, so he comes on board, and he wrote some of those songs that I've been singing for years, like Chemistry, Come Said the Boy, Summer of 81, State of the Heart. Yep. So to have the actual guy that wrote them playing, that's a big deal,
Sure. Look, Ross, really appreciate your time. I know you're ready to go on stage. There's a lot of people down there very shortly waiting for Ross Wilson and the Peaceniks, of course. Thanks so much for joining us. Very appreciated.